Nobody was ready for what unfolded next. Just when fans thought the roller coaster of love, loyalty, and late-night arguments had finally slowed down, a bombshell detonated across social media, and it had everyone clutching their phones in disbelief. According to whispers that spread like wildfire, young Jock was allegedly hiding a secret so explosive it threatened to shatter everything he and Kendra had fought to protect. And when the truth began to surface, emotions ran high, nerves snapped, and a live audience witnessed a breakdown no one could unsee. It all started with a single cryptic post. Then came the blurry screenshots. Then the rumors fans prayed weren't true. Another woman, a newborn baby, and a timeline that just did not add up. Fans are shocked, confused, and demanding answers as clips from a late-night livestream circulate online, showing Kendra Robinson struggling to hold herself together as thousands watched in real time. Her voice trembled, her eyes filled with tears. And then, she broke. What was supposed to be a casual live session turned into a raw, unfiltered emotional collapse. Viewers say they could feel the pain through the screen as accusations flew, silence grew louder than words, and the comment section erupted into chaos. Friends allegedly tried to intervene. Family members were dragged into the drama. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any messier, another twist surfaced that left the family divided and fans questioning everything they thought they knew. So how did it get this far? Was this betrayal real, or was there more to the story than anyone realized? And most importantly, can love survive a secret this big? Stay right here, because what you're about to hear will leave you stunned. The night everything cracked open didn't start with shouting or accusations. It started quietly, the way real damage often does. Young Jock came home late, again, keys dropping a little too loud on the counter, phone clutched in his hand like it was part of his body. Kendra was already awake. She always was lately. She sat on the couch, legs tucked under her, eyes fixed on the dark TV screen that reflected both of them without showing either clearly. The air felt heavy, like it had been holding its breath all day. Fans would later say they sensed something was wrong weeks before, that the smiles looked forced, that the laughter didn't reach their eyes. But in that moment, it was just two people in a room full of unsaid things. Kendra didn't ask where he'd been. She didn't need to. She asked why his phone had been buzzing non-stop for the past hour. Young Jock hesitated, and that pause was loud. Too loud. He said it was work, always something he couldn't explain yet. Emotions ran high even in the silence. Kendra stood up slowly, walked closer, and said she wasn't stupid. She said women know. Fans are shocked now hearing how calm she was then, how controlled, like she was bracing herself for a fall she already saw coming. Jock snapped back that she was imagining things, that social media had her paranoid, that not every rumor needed to be entertained. But when she reached for his phone and he pulled it back, the truth cracked through the room like thunder. By morning, the whispers had already started. A woman from out of town. A hospital visit. A baby. Nobody had proof yet, just fragments. Screenshots with names blurred out, voice notes that sounded like him but weren't confirmed. Friends started calling Kendra, some pretending they didn't know anything, others asking if she was okay in a way that said everything. The family was left divided almost immediately. One side urging her to stay quiet and protect her home, the other telling her she deserved the truth no matter how ugly it was. Young Jock went silent publicly, which only made fans more suspicious. Silence, in this world, is never neutral. Days later, the woman finally surfaced indirectly. Not with a press release, not with an interview, but with a photo. A tiny hand wrapped around an adult finger. No names, no captions, just a timestamp that didn't line up with the story Kendra had been told. Fans are shocked at how fast the internet connected the dots. Blogs ran wild, timelines were dissected, and every past argument was suddenly reinterpreted as a warning sign. Young Jock reportedly confronted the woman privately, demanding she stop, insisting things were being taken out of context. She allegedly laughed and said the truth didn't need context. It just needed time. Kendra tried to hold it together. She really did. She stayed off camera, ignored the tags, the DMs, the people begging her to say something. But pressure has a way of finding cracks. One night, she went live, telling herself it was just to connect with supporters, just to clear her head. At first, it worked. She thanked fans, talked about strength, about faith, about not believing everything you see online. But the comments kept coming. Questions she wasn't ready to answer. Names she didn't want to read. Someone asked directly if the baby rumors were true. And that's when her voice changed. She tried to smile. She tried to laugh it off. But her eyes betrayed her. She said she was tired of being strong for everybody else. She said she'd been loyal, she'd been patient, she'd been understanding when understanding cost her sleep and her peace. Emotions ran high as viewers watched her hands start to shake. She said she found out the same way everyone else did, through whispers and screenshots, through people who couldn't wait to be first instead of being kind. Fans are shocked because this was the first time she admitted she didn't have all the answers either. Behind the scenes, young Jock was panicking. Sources say he begged her to end the live, told her they could talk privately, promised explanations that still weren't explanations. But once the words start coming, they don't stop easily. Kendra said betrayal doesn't always look like cheating at first. Sometimes it looks like lies stacked on top of each other until the truth suffocates. She said if there was a baby, she deserved to hear it from him, not from strangers. The comment section exploded, some defending Jock, saying men make mistakes. Others saying a mistake doesn't cry in a crib. The live ended abruptly, but the damage didn't. Clips spread everywhere. Family members started choosing sides publicly. One cousin hinted that this wasn't the first time. A friend of Jock's went online saying people should mind their business. The other woman remained silent again, which somehow said even more. Fans are shocked at how quickly love turned into suspicion, how a relationship that looked solid now felt like it was built on sand. And in the middle of it all, a baby who didn't ask to be part of any of this, yet changed everything just by existing. As night fell again, Kendra sat alone, phone face down, tears finally falling where no one could see. She didn't know yet that this was only the beginning, that more details were coming, that loyalties would be tested harder, that the story everyone thought they understood was about to twist in ways nobody expected. And somewhere else, young Jock stared at the same darkness, realizing some secrets don't stay buried, they wait for the worst possible moment to rise. The morning after the live felt unreal, like the world had shifted slightly off its axis and nobody knew where to stand. Kendra woke up to hundreds of missed calls and thousands of messages, some filled with love, others dripping with judgment. Fans are shocked by how quickly support can turn into scrutiny. Every pause in her live, every breath she took, had already been analyzed frame by frame. She stayed in bed longer than usual, staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment her voice cracked over and over again. She hadn't planned to say so much. She hadn't planned to say anything at all. But once the dam broke, everything she'd been holding back rushed out. Young Jock didn't come home that night. Instead, he sent texts. Long ones. Apologetic ones. Confusing ones. He said things weren't what they looked like, then admitted they were worse than he'd admitted before. He said he needed time to explain, but explanations without honesty only dig deeper holes. Kendra read every message but didn't reply. Silence was the only control she had left. Meanwhile, the other woman's name finally surfaced. Not officially, not confirmed, but enough for blogs to run with it. Fans are shocked by how fast a private life becomes public property when drama enters the chat. Friends started choosing sides more aggressively now. One of Kendra's closest friends showed up unannounced, hugging her tightly, whispering that she wasn't crazy, that she'd had suspicions for months. That hurt almost as much as the betrayal itself. Knowing others saw it before you do feels like being the last person to arrive at your own surprise party, except nobody is celebrating. Young Jock's inner circle circled the wagons, insisting the baby wasn't his, then later shifting to saying even if it was, it didn't erase years of love. The family was left divided, with elders urging prayer and patience while younger relatives demanded accountability. Behind closed doors, young Jock finally admitted there was a baby. Not with full details, not with pride or joy, but with fear. He said it happened during a rough patch, a time when he and Kendra weren't seeing eye to eye. He said it was a mistake, a moment, something that didn't mean anything emotionally. Those words echoed in Kendra's head like an insult. Fans are shocked because they've heard that line before, from other men, in other scandals, and it never sounds better the second time. A baby isn't a moment. A baby is a lifetime. Kendra asked the only question that mattered to her. Did you know before now? Jock hesitated again. That pause returned, heavier than before. When he finally said yes, something in her shut down completely. The betrayal wasn't just the baby. It was the months of pretending, the shared meals, the laughs, the plans, all built on a lie she never consented to live in. Emotions ran high as she told him she needed space, not just physical space but emotional distance to hear her own thoughts again. As days passed, the other woman finally spoke, indirectly again. A voice note leaked, allegedly hers, saying she wasn't trying to break up a home, that she hadn't known about Kendra at first, and when she did find out, it was already too late. Fans are shocked at how responsibility gets passed around like a hot potato in situations like this. She said the baby deserved acknowledgement, not secrecy. She said she'd been promised things that never happened. Young jock denied promising anything, then admitted he might have led her on. The story kept shifting, like sand slipping through fingers. Kendra went live again, briefly, not crying this time but numb. She said she was stepping back from social media. She said healing doesn't happen on camera. She thanked fans for the support but reminded them they didn't know everything, and neither did she. That honesty hit harder than any accusation. The comments slowed, then flooded again with people begging her not to leave, telling her she was strong, telling her she deserved better. Fans are shocked because for once, the drama didn't feel entertaining. It felt heavy. Privately, Kendra wrestled with decisions that had no good answers. Stay and try to rebuild something fractured at its core, or leave and grieve the future she thought she had. Young jock promised counseling, transparency, change. Promises sounded cheap right now, but history has weight, and love doesn't disappear overnight just because it's wounded. The family pushed for reconciliation. The internet pushed for separation. Everyone had an opinion except the two people who mattered most, who were still too deep in the pain to see clearly. Then another twist hit. Documents surfaced suggesting young jock had been financially supporting the other woman quietly for months. Nothing illegal, but everything emotional. Receipts don't lie, and these receipts told a story of guilt and preparation. Fans are shocked as timelines collapsed further. This wasn't a surprise baby. This was a secret managed carefully until it wasn't. Kendra confronted him again, rage finally breaking through the numbness. She asked how long he thought he could live two lives. He said he didn't think. That answer said more than he realized. Arguments turned into long nights of silence. Some nights he slept on the couch. Some nights he didn't come home at all. Kendra began packing and unpacking bags without committing to either choice. Every item held memories. Every memory felt like a question mark. Meanwhile, the other woman posted again, this time a quote about truth coming out no matter how long it's buried. No names, but the message was clear. The family was left divided even more sharply now, with accusations flying across group chats and private calls turning heated. Fans are shocked watching it all unfold in real time, realizing there may be no clean ending here. No villain without wounds. No victim without scars. Just broken trust, a new life entering the world under a cloud of chaos, and a relationship standing at a crossroads with no signs pointing the right way. And as pressure mounted from every direction, one thing became clear. This story wasn't slowing down. It was building toward a moment that would force everyone involved to finally choose a side, even if that side meant standing alone. The tension reached a breaking point when young jock finally agreed to meet the other woman face to face with Kendra present. It wasn't about closure. It was about truth. A neutral location was chosen, quiet, away from cameras, but nothing about the moment felt calm. Kendra walked in first, shoulders squared, eyes tired but sharp. She had cried enough in private. This time, she wanted answers without tears blurring her vision. When the other woman entered, holding a diaper bag instead of a purse, reality hit harder than any headline ever could. Fans are shocked hearing how silent the room was at first, how nobody knew where to start because every word felt dangerous. The baby wasn't there, but the presence was. It lingered in every pause, every breath. The other woman spoke first, saying she never wanted things to happen this way. Kendra almost laughed at that. Not because it was funny, but because it was painfully predictable. She asked how long. The other woman answered honestly this time. Longer than you think. That sentence cut deeper than any insult. Young jock tried to interrupt, but Kendra raised her hand, stopping him cold. She said this wasn't his moment to manage the narrative. It was his moment to listen. The other woman admitted she knew about Kendra earlier than she'd claimed. Admitted she believed promises she shouldn't have. Admitted she hoped the baby would change things. Emotions ran high as she said she didn't plan to go public but got tired of being hidden. Fans are shocked by how complicated the truth became. There was no clear hero, no clear villain, just three adults tangled in choices that couldn't be undone. When Kendra asked if the baby was definitely his, the room went still. Young jock said yes. No hesitation this time. No pause. That honesty came too late to be comforting. After the meeting, something shifted in Kendra. Not peace, not acceptance, but clarity. She realized she'd been fighting shadows for months, doubting her instincts, shrinking herself to keep the peace. That night, she packed one bag and left. Not permanently, she told herself, just space. Young jock watched her go, realizing consequences don't always come with yelling. Sometimes they come quietly, with a suitcase and a door closing softly behind them. The family was left divided yet again. Some accused her of abandoning him when he needed support. Others praised her for choosing herself. Fans are shocked when paparazzi spotted Kendra days later without her ring. No statement, no caption, just a bare hand that said more than words ever could. Young Jock finally spoke publicly then, releasing a carefully worded message about accountability, growth, and protecting children from adult mistakes. It sounded right, it read right, but something about it felt hollow. Maybe because accountability doesn't usually come with a publicist. The internet wasn't kind. Some accepted his apology, many didn't. Screenshots don't forget. Meanwhile, the other woman filed paperwork to formally establish paternity. Not out of spite, she said, but for stability. Fans are shocked at how legal reality crashes into emotional chaos. Courts don't care about feelings. They care about facts. Young Jock complied, confirming what everyone already knew. With that confirmation came another wave of headlines, another wave of opinions. Kendra stayed silent through it all, focusing on herself, on therapy, on rebuilding a sense of identity not defined by betrayal. But silence doesn't stop rumors. Some claimed she was secretly planning to forgive him. Others said she was preparing to leave for good. Young Jock reportedly tried everything. Flowers, letters, late-night calls apologizing without excuses. Sometimes she answered, sometimes she didn't. Healing isn't linear, and neither is letting go. Emotions ran high on both sides, especially when holidays approached. Traditions felt heavier now. Empty chairs spoke loudly. Then came another twist nobody saw coming. The other woman hinted in a live of her own that she wasn't the only one. That there had been others, before her, after her. She didn't name names, but the implication was clear. Fans are shocked as old rumors resurfaced, old clips re-examined, old patterns recognized. Suddenly, this wasn't about one mistake or one baby. It was about a lifestyle. Young Jock denied it, calling her bitter, saying she was trying to hurt him now. But doubt had already been planted, and doubt grows fast when trust is already dead. Kendra heard about the live from a friend. Instead of anger, she felt relief. Strange, quiet relief. Because if it wasn't just her, then maybe it was never about her shortcomings. Maybe she hadn't failed. Maybe she had simply loved someone who wasn't ready to be the person she needed. That realization didn't erase the pain, but it shifted the blame where it belonged. Fans are shocked when she finally returned to social media, posting a simple message about choosing peace over chaos and truth over comfort. Young Jock felt the shift too. For the first time, he wasn't the one holding leverage. The audience had changed. The sympathy had thinned. The narrative was no longer salvageable with words alone. He started therapy publicly, sharing snippets, talking about patterns, trauma, accountability. Some saw growth, others saw damage control. The family was left divided on whether this was genuine change or too little too late. As months passed, the baby became the center of a new reality. Birthdays would overlap. Futures would intertwine whether anyone liked it or not. Kendra had to imagine a life where this child existed in her orbit, even if young Jock didn't. That was one of the hardest truths to swallow. Because even if she walked away, the consequences of his actions would echo. Fans are shocked by how adult decisions ripple outward, touching people who never asked to be involved. One evening, young Jock and Kendra met again. Not to reconcile, not to argue, but to talk honestly for the first time in a long time. No cameras, no audience, just truth. He admitted he'd been selfish. Admitted he liked the attention, the double life, until it demanded accountability. She admitted she ignored red flags because love made her hopeful. They didn't promise forever. They didn't even promise tomorrow. They promised respect. Sometimes that's all that's left. As they parted that night, both understood something final. Whatever happened next, the version of their relationship the world knew was over. Fans are shocked realizing this wasn't a cliffhanger built for drama. It was a slow, painful transformation into something unrecognizable. And while the story wasn't finished yet, one thing was certain. Nothing would ever go back to the way it was. Time moved strangely after that conversation, stretching and compressing in ways neither of them expected. Some days felt endless, heavy with memories and what-ifs. Other days passed in a blur, filled with distractions that didn't quite distract. Kendra focused on rebuilding routines. Morning walks, journaling, therapy sessions where she finally said things out loud she'd been swallowing for years. She talked about how betrayal doesn't just break trust in a partner, it breaks trust in yourself. Emotions ran high when she admitted she'd ignored her intuition because she wanted the fairy tale more than the truth. Young Jock, on the other hand, struggled with the silence more than the criticism. He was used to noise, attention, chaos. Now the house felt too quiet. Every room reminded him of what he'd risked and possibly lost. He visited the baby regularly, trying to step into fatherhood with sincerity, but guilt followed him everywhere. Holding the child felt both grounding and devastating. This innocent life was proof of his actions, impossible to explain away. Fans are shocked hearing how conflicted he was, loving the baby while mourning the life that existed before. The other woman watched all of this from her own corner of the storm. She thought once the truth was out, things would settle. Instead, she found herself under a microscope. Criticized for speaking up, criticized for staying quiet. She realized too late that public sympathy is fleeting, especially when people are hungry for someone to blame. She focused on motherhood, determined to protect her child from the mess as much as possible, even as she occasionally slipped into bitterness during late-night lives that only fueled more drama. Rumors never stopped, they just evolved. Some blogs claimed Kendra had moved on. Others insisted she was secretly meeting young Jock again. Fans are shocked by how easily speculation replaces facts when silence leaves space to fill. The truth was simpler and harder. They were still entangling their lives, piece by piece. Finances, shared responsibilities, shared memories that didn't disappear just because trust was broken. Every interaction required emotional armor. Then came the moment that reignited everything. A leaked audio surfaced online, allegedly from a private conversation between young Jock and a friend. In it, he sounded dismissive, saying he never thought the situation would blow up this big. Even though he later claimed the clip was taken out of context, the damage was immediate. Fans are shocked by how fast goodwill evaporated. Kendra heard the audio late at night, alone, and whatever lingering hope she had cracked for good. Not because of the words themselves, but because of the casual tone. Betrayal hurts, but minimizing it hurts more. She didn't go live. She didn't post. She simply made a decision. The next morning, she contacted a lawyer. Not out of revenge, but out of self-preservation. Setting boundaries suddenly felt necessary, not optional. Young Jock found out days later and felt blindsided, even though deep down he knew this was coming. Accountability feels unfair when you're not ready to face it. Emotions ran high during their next conversation, voices raised not in anger but in exhaustion. She told him she couldn't heal in the same space where she was hurt. He finally listened without arguing. The family reacted strongly. Some accused her of giving up too easily. Others admitted they would have left sooner. The family was left divided yet again, proof that loyalty looks different depending on where you stand. Holidays came and went with awkward arrangements and forced politeness. Photos were cropped carefully. Captions were vague. Everyone tried to move forward without stepping on emotional landmines. Young Jock threw himself into work, hoping productivity could drown out regret. New projects, studio time, interviews that danced around the topic without ever really addressing it. Fans are shocked noticing how carefully he chose his words, how often he spoke about growth without naming the harm. Some appreciated the effort, others demanded more. Public redemption is a long road, especially when private healing is still unfinished. Kendra, meanwhile, slowly found her voice again. Not through drama, but through honesty. She spoke about boundaries, about self-worth, about learning when to walk away even when love is still present. People listened differently now. Her pain resonated because it wasn't performative. It was quiet, steady, real. Fans are shocked at how much strength can exist without shouting. The other woman eventually faded from the spotlight, intentionally. She stopped going live, stopped hinting, stopped feeding the machine. Motherhood grounded her in a way nothing else had. She realized her child deserved a life not defined by scandal. That choice didn't erase the past, but it softened the future. Months passed. Wounds scabbed over, though some scars remained tender. Young Jock and Kendra reached a fragile understanding. Not friendship, not reconciliation, but mutual respect. They acknowledged the love they once shared without pretending it could simply be restored. Sometimes endings don't come with closure, just acceptance. Fans are shocked realizing this wasn't the explosive ending they expected. No screaming matches. No viral confrontations. Just quiet decisions made behind closed doors. That, somehow, felt more real than any headline. The baby grew. Life continued. And while the story would always be remembered as messy, painful, and public, those living it learned something the audience often forgets. Drama doesn't end when the cameras turn off. It just changes shape. And as the noise slowly faded, one truth remained. Trust once broken doesn't always get rebuilt. Sometimes it teaches you when to let go, when to choose yourself, and when to walk into a future that looks nothing like the one you planned, but feels honest enough to finally breathe again. The calm that followed didn't mean peace, it meant distance. The kind that lets you hear your own thoughts again, whether you like them or not. Kendra moved into a new place quietly, no announcements, no dramatic reveals. Just a new set of keys and a deep breath she didn't realize she'd been holding for months. The first night alone felt strange. Empowering and terrifying at the same time. She sat on the floor surrounded by half-unpacked boxes, realizing this was the first decision she'd made in a long time that was only about her. Emotions ran high as she cried, not because she missed him, but because she missed who she thought he was. Young Jock heard about the move through someone else. That stung more than he expected. Not because he thought he had a right to know everything anymore, but because it confirmed how far apart they'd grown. He drove past the old place more than once, parking down the street, never getting out of the car. Accountability looks different when you're alone with it. Fans are shocked when he cancels appearances, turns down interviews, choosing silence instead of spinning another version of the story. The baby became a grounding force in his life, but also a mirror. Late-night feedings gave him time to think. Too much time. He started writing letters he never sent, apologies without an audience. Some to Kendra, some to himself, some to the child, promising to do better even if better came late. Guilt doesn't disappear when you acknowledge it. It just stops hiding. Kendra's friends noticed the change first. Her laugh sounded different, lighter, still cautious but real. She stopped checking her phone every 5 minutes. Stopped flinching at notifications. Therapy helped her untangle the guilt she never should have carried. She talked about how women are often taught to fix situations they didn't break. Fans are shocked when her words start circulating, not as gossip, but as affirmation for others going through similar pain. But healing isn't a straight line. Some nights, memories crept in uninvited. Songs, jokes, inside moments nobody else understood. She let herself feel them without judgment, without turning them into reasons to go back. Loving someone doesn't obligate you to keep choosing them when they keep choosing differently. That realization became her anchor. Young Jock tried to reach out again, not to fix things, but to apologize without conditions. This time, his message was shorter. No explanations, no defenses, just ownership. Kendra read it slowly, twice, 3 times. She appreciated it, genuinely. But appreciation isn't reconciliation. She replied with honesty, thanking him, wishing him well, setting a boundary that felt firm but kind. That exchange marked a real ending. Not dramatic, definitive. Fans are shocked when both of them attend the same industry event months later and don't interact at all. No icy stares, no forced smiles, just 2 people existing in the same space with separate lives. The internet tried to read into it anyway. It always does, but sometimes absence of drama is the loudest statement. The other woman resurfaced briefly when the baby's first birthday approached. Not for attention, but logistics. Co-parenting requires communication, whether feelings are resolved or not. Boundaries were drawn clearly, schedules agreed on, expectations set. It wasn't perfect, but it was functional. She had her own healing to do too, learning the difference between being chosen and being convenient. Motherhood changed her priorities in ways nothing else could. Young Jock struggled with public perception longer than he admitted. Redemption arcs aren't guaranteed. Some fans forgave, some didn't. He learned that apologies don't erase impact. They just acknowledge it. Growth became quieter, less performative. Fewer speeches, more action, showing up consistently, especially when no one was watching. Kendra found new purpose in advocacy, though she never framed it that way. She shared selectively, intentionally. Not every scar needs to be displayed to prove strength. Fans are shocked by how much power there is in restraint. She wasn't hiding anymore. She was protecting her peace. Then, unexpectedly, she fell in love with herself in a way she hadn't before. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. She trusted her instincts again, honored her boundaries, allowed joy without waiting for it to be taken away. That confidence attracted new opportunities, new connections, new versions of herself she hadn't met yet. Young Jock noticed the shift from afar. Not with resentment, but with respect. Sometimes losing someone is the lesson you needed to learn how to be better for the next chapter. Whether that chapter included romance again or not, he knew he couldn't outrun the work anymore. The family eventually settled into a new normal. Wounds scabbed, conversations softened. Time did what it always does, dulling sharp edges without erasing memory. The family was left divided less often, though some fractures remained. Not everything heals fully, and that's okay. Fans are shocked when a year later, the story is no longer trending. No headlines, no leaks, just life continuing. That's the part people forget. Drama feels permanent when you're in it, but time has a way of moving forward whether you're ready or not. Kendra stood on her balcony one evening, watching the city lights, realizing she no longer felt heavy. She didn't win. She didn't lose. She learned. And sometimes, that's the most honest ending there is. The story didn't disappear just because the headlines stopped. It settled into quieter spaces, into private moments that never made it online. Kendra learned that healing doesn't announce itself. It shows up in small ways. The first morning she woke up without a knot in her chest. The first time she laughed without immediately wondering when it would fade. The first time she made plans without factoring someone else's choices into the equation. Those moments stacked slowly, building a life that felt steady instead of reactive. Emotions ran high sometimes, but they no longer controlled her. Young Jock faced a different kind of quiet. The applause he once thrived on was replaced by reflection he couldn't escape. He started recognizing patterns he'd ignored for years. Attention had always come easily to him, and he'd confused being wanted with being fulfilled. Therapy forced him to sit with uncomfortable truths, especially the realization that charm can distract from accountability but never replace it. Fans are shocked when he admits privately to friends that losing Kendra was the consequence that finally woke him up. Co-parenting brought its own challenges. Schedules clashed, emotions resurfaced unexpectedly, but slowly, routines formed. Birthdays were coordinated without tension. Holidays were handled with maturity, even when it felt awkward. The baby became a reminder that life keeps moving forward, regardless of adult mistakes. Young Jock showed up consistently, not for praise, but because consistency was something he'd failed at before. The other woman noticed the difference too. She remained guarded, but she acknowledged effort when she saw it. Kendra watched all of this from a distance, no longer emotionally invested but still human. There were moments she felt relief she wasn't in the middle of it anymore. Other moments brought a strange sadness, not for what was, but for what could have been if honesty had come sooner. Fans are shocked when she speaks candidly about grief not just being about loss, but about lost possibilities. Loving someone doesn't guarantee a future with them, and accepting that truth was one of her hardest lessons. New relationships didn't come immediately. She wasn't interested in replacing anyone. She wanted to choose differently this time, not from loneliness or hope, but from clarity. She dated slowly, intentionally, paid attention to actions instead of words, walked away from situations that felt familiar in the wrong ways. Every boundary honored felt like a victory. Young Jock's career took a quieter turn too. Fewer flashy moves, more intentional projects. He avoided exploiting his personal life for attention, understanding too late that some exposure costs more than it gives. Fans are shocked when he turns down a tell-all opportunity, choosing privacy over profit. For the first time, he understood that not every story needs to be monetized. The family dynamic continued evolving. Some relationships never fully recovered. Others strengthened in unexpected ways. Apologies were exchanged quietly. Forgiveness came unevenly. The family was left divided less by anger and more by distance, which time softened gradually. Gatherings became easier. Conversations less tense. Nobody pretended the past didn't happen, but it stopped dominating every interaction. Kendra became a reference point for others going through similar situations. Strangers reached out, thanking her for choosing dignity over drama. She never positioned herself as a role model, but she understood the impact of moving through pain without spectacle. Fans are shocked realizing strength doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like restraint. Young Jock continued doing the work, knowing growth doesn't erase harm but it can prevent repetition. He accepted that some people would never forgive him, and that was their right. Accountability meant living with that reality without resentment. He focused on being present where it mattered most, especially as a father. That role reshaped him in ways no public apology ever could. Years later, when asked indirectly about that chapter, Kendra described it as a turning point rather than a tragedy. She said pain either hardens you or clarifies you. For her, it clarified everything she was no longer willing to tolerate. She spoke about self-trust as something you rebuild, brick by brick, after it's been shaken. Emotions ran high for listeners who recognized themselves in her words. Young Jock heard those comments secondhand and nodded to himself. Not because he felt validated, but because he understood. Sometimes you're the lesson in someone else's life, and accepting that is part of growth. He wished her well genuinely, without expectation, without hope of reunion. Some connections aren't meant to continue, only to teach. The internet eventually moved on, as it always does. New scandals replaced old ones. New stories demanded attention. Fans are shocked by how temporary outrage really is. But for those who lived it, the impact remained permanent in quieter ways. Choices made under pressure reshaped futures forever. Kendra stood firmly in hers now, not untouched by pain, but no longer defined by it. She learned that peace isn't the absence of conflict, it's the presence of self-respect. She chose herself without guilt, without apology. And young Jock learned that consequences don't always come wrapped in anger. Sometimes they arrive as distance, as silence, as a life that continues without you at its center. accepting that truth was the final step in his transformation. The story ended not with a bang, but with understanding. No winners, no villains, just people changed by choices they couldn't undo. Fans are shocked, realizing the most dramatic part of the story wasn't the betrayal or the baby or the live breakdown. It was what came after. The slow, unglamorous work of becoming better, separately, honestly, and without an audience. Even with all that growth, there were moments when the past knocked without warning. A song playing in a store. A joke that sounded too familiar. A date on the calendar that used to mean something else. Healing doesn't erase memory, it just changes how much power it has. Kendra learned to let those moments pass without assigning meaning to them. She no longer asked what if. She asked what now. That shift changed everything. She traveled more, sometimes alone, sometimes with friends who reminded her who she was before she started shrinking herself for someone else's comfort. Standing in new cities, surrounded by unfamiliar sounds, she felt something close to freedom. Not the loud kind, but the steady kind that doesn't disappear when the lights go out. Fans are shocked when she posts photos that aren't glamorous, just real. Candid smiles, quiet sunsets, moments that don't beg for validation. Young Jock noticed those changes too, though he never commented publicly. Privately, he acknowledged that losing her forced him to confront parts of himself he'd avoided for years. He stopped blaming circumstances, stopped blaming pressure, stopped blaming temptation. Accountability became less about saying the right things and more about doing the hard ones consistently. Therapy sessions got deeper. Conversations with mentors got more honest. Growth stopped being an image and became a process. Fatherhood continued reshaping him. Late nights, early mornings, small milestones that didn't care about his past mistakes. The baby didn't know scandal, didn't know headlines, only knew presence. That grounded him more than anything else ever had. Fans are shocked hearing how he turned down opportunities that would have taken him away for long stretches. Priorities had shifted, and for once, they stayed shifted. The other woman found her own rhythm too. She stopped defining herself through the lens of the situation. She built a routine that centered her child and her peace. Resentment faded slowly, replaced by acceptance. She realized holding on to anger only tethered her to a past she couldn't change. Co-parenting became smoother as expectations were met consistently. Trust wasn't complete, but predictability helped. Kendra eventually allowed herself to open her heart again. Cautiously, intentionally. She didn't rush. She observed. She asked questions she'd ignored before. When something felt off, she didn't explain it away. She walked. That alone felt like a victory. When something felt right, she allowed it without fear. She understood now that love doesn't require self-sacrifice to the point of self-erasure. Fans are shocked when she's seen out with someone new months later. No announcement, no confirmation, just ease. The absence of chaos spoke louder than any caption ever could. She didn't need to prove anything to anyone anymore. Happiness didn't need witnesses. Young Jock heard about it through the same channels everyone else did. The feeling surprised him. Not jealousy, not anger, something closer to peace. He'd accepted that some chapters end permanently, and that acceptance made space for gratitude instead of regret. He hoped she was happy. Genuinely. And for the first time, that hope didn't come with strings attached. The family dynamic continued settling into something functional. Not perfect, never perfect, but honest. Conversations became less guarded. Laughter returned cautiously. The past was acknowledged without being weaponized. Time softened edges, though it never erased memory. The family was left divided less often, because everyone learned where lines existed and how not to cross them. Fans are shocked when years later, someone brings up the scandal in an interview and there's no visible reaction from either side. No flinch, no defensiveness, just acknowledgement. That's when it becomes clear the story no longer owns them. They own it. Kendra spoke once about the experience in a way that surprised people. She said the hardest part wasn't the betrayal, it was rebuilding trust in herself afterward. She said learning to listen to your intuition again after it's been gaslit is an act of courage. Emotions ran high for listeners who felt seen by those words. Pain shared with purpose carries power. Young Jock shared his own reflections privately with a small group. He admitted that charm without discipline is dangerous. That access without boundaries leads to destruction. He didn't ask for sympathy. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He accepted the consequences as part of his growth. Fans are shocked when they realize accountability doesn't always come with redemption arcs or applause. Life moved forward quietly. Reminders of the past grew less frequent. New memories layered over old ones. The baby grew into a toddler, then a child, unaware of the chaos that preceded their arrival. That innocence became a reason for everyone involved to keep choosing better, even on hard days. Kendra reached a point where she could look back without pain. Not indifference, but understanding. She didn't wish things had happened differently, because she liked who she became because of them. Strength earned through experience feels different than strength imagined. It's quieter, steadier, harder to shake. Young Jock reached a similar understanding from a different angle. He recognized that consequences don't mean your life is over. They mean it has changed. Resisting that change only prolongs suffering. Accepting it opens the door to growth. He lived with the reality of his choices without trying to rewrite history. Fans are shocked realizing the story never really needed a dramatic ending. No courtroom showdown, no explosive reunion, no viral confrontation, just people learning, adjusting, and moving on in ways that didn't require permission or applause. In the end, the most unexpected twist wasn't the baby, the breakdown, or the betrayal. It was the quiet aftermath. The part no one clips. The part that doesn't trend. The part where people either repeat patterns or finally break them. Kendra broke hers, young Jock confronted his, and life continued, imperfect but honest, proving that sometimes the loudest drama happens at the beginning, and the real story is told in the silence that follows. After hearing all of this, the questions don't just disappear. Was the truth revealed too late to save anything, or was this ending the only way real healing could begin? Did young Jock truly change, or was the damage already done long before the baby ever arrived? And did Kendra lose a relationship, or did she gain herself in the process? Fans are shocked because this story doesn't give easy answers, and maybe that's the point. Real life rarely wraps itself up neatly. Now it's your turn to weigh in. If you were in Kendra's position, would you have stayed and tried to rebuild, or would you have walked away the moment the truth came out? Do you believe people can genuinely change after betrayal, or are some lines crossed forever? And how should situations like this be handled when a child is involved and emotions are already running high? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation doesn't end here. Your perspective matters.